Started. All right, so we'll call this meeting to order. Welcome back, everybody. It's
Yeah.
been 2 years already.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we decided. It's been 2 years.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, so
It's been one.
I was gonna say, I was refusing.
It's
to
been a
year.
Yeah, because it was
I
early last
think
year.
it came.
Oh, yeah.
Seemed like
Feels
something-
like two.
Because we worked really quickly because we knew we had to get it on the ballot.
Get it on the
When you
thing.
think
Right.
of
You
it
guys
as
are right.
planning for this, for
For the 2, yeah,
then
that
it
it's the
works.
2 years that we
Yeah.
have. to
That
do
makes
it.
more sense. 'Cause I
Yes.
was like.
All right.
switch
Yeah,
gears.
I'm
I
on.
was just gonna agree with her because I'm like.
I've had no sleep, okay? I've had no sleep.
She's a little tired.
This is a judgment-free meeting.
This is judgment free.
Please.
All right, so we started 5:30. So we all kind of know each other, but Mandy Gray, Randy Rice, Katie Zeitz, Matt Olson, Jason Barnard, and Kelly Long is here, as well as Brienne and Commissioner Sauer. Hey,
Hi.
Gary, so formal. No, this is the whole committee, remember? It's just 6 of us.
This is fun.
I know. I pulled up the resolution to be safe because I was like, wait a minute. It seemed right, but it's
No, Rose would sit up here when she took minutes.
Rose took the minutes for us last
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I invited
So if
her,
you're
but she
taking
said
minutes,
JD didn't want
Are you
to.
taking minutes?
I-
Or are you
I don't
just
think
here?
so. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the first thing we're
Yeah.
gonna get
No,
to.
it's not. I took them once because Rose wasn't here, so I just didn't know who was taking them.
The first item we're gonna get to is election of officers. So,
On Zoom, so.
yeah, we're on Zoom and
Yep.
also on YouTube. So as far as the election of officers, last time Randy Rice served as our chair, Rose served as our secretary. I'll take a nomination for chair unless you want to keep that the same, from the committee.
I'd move that we keep
Keep
Randy
Randy?
as our chair, if he would accept.
I'll accept.
Who seconds
I'll
that?
second that.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
Perfect. All right, so Rose works for the road commission now.
Yep.
And I tried to get her to come take minutes, but she said no.
she had better things to do at 5:30 on
Yeah.
Monday.
So would anyone like to take minutes? Otherwise,
I'm
I
not
can
good at
try
it.
to take the minutes.
I'm not good at it. Mandy's really good at minutes.
I was waiting for that.
Do
Sorry,
you
Andy.
accept that nomination? of minutes? Okay.
We love you. We
I
love
know
you.
you do. You
Thank
love me
you.
when you want something.
Is there any support
No,
for
we love you
Jason's
all.
nomination?
I'll support.
Second.
Ellie? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Andy as our minute taker.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thanks, Mandy.
Sorry, Mandy.
That's all right.
All right, cool. So I don't know why I put roll call on there
That's a
again.
good
Sorry.
penmanship.
Agenda revisions or approval. What I had kind of planned for tonight was that tonight was just kind of organizational. We'll get kind of our rhythm established. We got our officers established, and then we'll set the track going forward. So is there any changes to the agenda as presented?
Kelly approves the agenda.
I'll second.
Aye.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Perfect. Okay, it's really your show now, Randy. Sorry.
All right. I'm new to this too. Establish a meeting schedule. What's everybody's opinion on that?
So is there a meeting?
Once a day or once a month or?
So as far as the schedule goes, it's really gonna be up to this committee. There's nothing set in stone because it's an as-needed committee. The schedule becomes what we want it to be. Any sort of millage request will need to go on the ballot for next year. Those deadlines are going to be, in the spring of next year. So we really have a lot of time to
Yeah.
work through this and get into the nitty-gritty. We did that on purpose so that we weren't
Yes.
rushed like last
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
right.
So if we want to start out, and meet a little less frequently, but then ramp up as we get into the meat of things, we can do that.
Like in a month, 2 months? What do you think?
Well, how much time would the commissioners, let's assume that we came
Mhm.
out with some sort of a
Yep.
proposal that was gonna go on the ballot. If you back up to the filing deadline,
Mhm.
how much time would the commissioners want to put it before voters and do the education campaign?
Sure.
Is that like a 3 month,
Is
a
it
6
mid-May?
month,
They'd have to have
a
the
year?
plan
Like
done
how much
for
time?
August?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, so mid-May is gonna be August, and then
Mid-
first part of August is going to be November. I would anticipate putting it on August, so then we have a November to fall back onto for whatever
That makes the most
reason.
sense.
So that would mean the filing deadline for August would be what?
First part of
April?
May,
May?
yeah.
Okay.
A year.
And once you put that out there, you probably want to get it out front of the public a little around then? a
I
little before then?
anticipate we need to start talking about this and educating the community. The end of this year, first part of next
Or
year. I
we-
think it's gonna take all of
Are we in the
8
discussion?
months plus.
Are we in the discussion of the actual millage at this point?
Yeah.
No, I think we're trying
We're
to,
still talking about this
we're
schedule.
talking about a
Okay, schedule.
timeline and what that schedule.
But
looks
if,
like.
but depending, and we don't know what we're gonna decide, so that's kind of the catch
Right.
22 of it, is
Right.
that. Depending on what we recommend to the commissioners. It may need to be as
8
soon as
months.
possible because of, I don't wanna say propaganda, but just, yeah, like getting that information.
Yeah, it's all gonna
out
depend on
there.
what it is.
If- if-
what
And
it is
it,
upon
you
that.
know,
It
if,
feels like it'd be good to be done by the end of this calendar year.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, cause then if they also don't, if they're not on board with what we're recommending.
We're going back.
Then we gotta start from scratch and then that pushes the timeline.
Yeah.
Probably maybe even like, I still think we could probably get it done monthly.
Yeah, I think
I'm
we should.
between
good
now
with-
and-
I'm
monthly
good
is
with
good.
monthly.
I think
Yeah,
monthly.
I don't wanna
and
wait
then
too long. I
As we
want it to
get
be
into
fresh enough when
fall,
people
maybe
over a
we
month
go to
is-
like, bi-weekly or
Yes.
something.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Especially
especially if we
know,
feel like
too.
we need more work. and
Yeah, we
need
can always
to
change
move
it.
along.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm okay with
so
that.
monthly sounds good. What day of the week works best for you and do, this
For
early
me,
evening
for me,
work? or-
Tuesday is a good day that doesn't have anything usually for myself. I mean, I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Tuesday works really well.
And-
Current-
I can make a lot of
Tuesdays are
things
normally
work.
pretty good.
Right now, we're in softball season again, so.
Right.
But when school's out and Thursdays are good for me, I can probably make Tuesday work usually.
I
It's only
can,
once a month, you can make once a month work.
and if we're gonna do this early evening, I can make anything but a Wednesday work.
Okay,
If we're gonna do during the day, Tuesdays are hairy because of board meetings.
yes.
During the
so-
day during the day is much easier for any time. Just in the evening, there's
Life gets
something
busy.
every day except for Tuesday currently. So,
I can't get over here a lot during the day though, too.
I-
I
oh,
just, and
yeah.
Matt can't,
Right.
yeah,
So does the
Back and forth with
Tuesday at
Travis.
5:30 work?
As long as it's not my board meetings are on, well, no, because we're gonna get into June, aren't we, for the next one?
Mhm.
June 3rd.
During the summer, our board meetings move to the morning, so
Oh,
it would be
nice.
okay. Yeah, just for the summertime. Normally we have a board meeting the first Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
Tentative June 3rd at 5:30.
Works for me.
Okay.
I could do that.
June 3rd,
Does that work for you too, Brienne? Because we're gonna need you.
need you, Brienne.
We wanted to go a little earlier. I could go earlier during the summer as well. That's up to
I
you
could
guys.
also.
What time you guys thinking? I can go anytime.
I can be here by 5. I
Why don't
can
you
just
do
do
5
super
o'clock?
earlier, yeah.
Five's
Five's fine.
5:30.
Or if like I have to leave work early,
Okay, so
you
like
know, I can do something like that,
Does
but
5
it's
work for you,
to go here at
Brandy?
10 in the morning, I can't do that.
Sally, 5 o'clock would be okay with you?
Yeah, I think the
Can't do
third,
four.
my husband has a heart appointment that I have to take him to, but I
Yeah, I
think
could
it's
do
at
4.
2 or 2:30. So
I can do
I should
4.
be back by
Yeah.
5.
I could do that as well.
Yeah, cause I'm just leaving work at 3 versus
Well,
4.
You could do
Kelly's,
that, but-
Kelly's got something though. She's not.
Oh, on that day.
Probably not by 4.
So
No,
we'll
she's
keep it
better-
at 5.
Let's do 5 because she can be back by 5.
So 5 o'clock on June 3rd.
Yep.
And that's a
Tuesday.
Thursday,
Tuesday.
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 Okay.
So the first Tuesday in July is July 1st. So that's not gonna work.
No, I'll be out of town. that
Everybody's
week.
out of town.
July is tough across the board.
Probably that second week of July.
The
would
week
be-
after you.
So July 8th.
For the 3rd.
Was the 4th is a Friday.
Yeah, the 8th
So that
works.
makes the next Friday, the 11th,
So
Yeah.
July 8th
Okay.
at 5.
and that's also a Tuesday.
And again, if you wanted to go earlier, I could go earlier that day.
Well, we have a board meeting that day and it's a study session day, so we're not usually done until at least 3 o'clock.
Yeah, no problem.
So I need,
Five's
my brain needs a break.
yeah.
Okay,
All right,
I'm flexible.
Gary
Got
really
two-
runs
we
my
got-
brain on
we
those
got
days.
2 of them on the books
I
anyway.
think that, yeah, do we wanna put August tentative on the books? Just, I mean, we're on the
Just so we
TV.
have it, yeah, the summer done.
I'm good with that.
I'm okay with that.
So that'd be August 5th.
Same time.
Also at 5.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
All
So
right,
I have Tuesday, June 3rd. Tuesday, July 8th and Tuesday, August 5th, all at 5 o'clock.
all right, that at least gets us our next 3, so we can get going on things.
They're all at 5 o'clock.
All at
Yep.
5 PM, and I'll book this room for all the meetings.
Perfect.
Great.
I imagine we'll have some attendance.
Public.
Well, I think 5 o'clock will help get community members in here. You'll recall last time we kind of had a little bit of a following there for a few meetings.
Yeah.
We did.
And I anticipate those same followers coming
Oh,
again,
Mhm.
based on some conversations we've had, so.
Which I think is a
Pretty
good thing. It obviously.
Absolutely.
We need to have that perspective, so.
Yeah.
Um. Okay,
At the meeting, brief discussion regarding general operation, millage and other funding sources.
So just super brief, the Board of Commissioners has established this committee again, because as you recall, last time, the recommendation of this committee was to bring forward no change in levy, but to put a 2-year time clock on the millage, so that we were at least getting rid of that indefinite side of things. The community voted in favor of that, so that's why we're back at the table today. The Board of Commissioners is wanting this committee to make a decision as to, or make a recommendation as to what we're gonna do going forward. Which is going to involve timeline again, as well as a possible adjustment to the levy itself. I have heard from commissioners that they'd like to see possibly a little bit longer than the 2-year timeline. But then they're very cautious also to go any longer than 5 years. From what we're understanding, gathering from neighboring communities, is it ranges anywhere from 2 years up to 5 years and 10 years for the renewal of other general operating millages in other counties surrounding us. So looking at that timeline, looking at that levy, in the meantime of all of that, though, when we went out to the community for all the special levies, so SRO, TNT, jail, all of those, we lined them up in a way so that they're expiring back to back to back. So that if there was the recommendation of this board to bundle anything, it would then allow us to do that in a much clearer way, because the community would have this doubt that we're gonna levy both, right? And
Right.
so the expirations are all approaching quickly as well. So if there is this opportunity or thought to bundle anything, it'll make that a little.
It'll be
We can
wrapped up
coincide
in
it
our
with the
recommendation.
expiration,
We can-
so we're
yeah.
not doing we promise not to levy.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there is that as well coming up, because we have animal control, SRO, TNT, jail specifically are the 4 big ones.
are you going to come to us with a recommendation, official recommendation, or just a recommendation?
So no, this
what-
committee is.
I know that,
charged
but I
with
mean,
making- Or you're saying from
we-
staff?
Yeah, because I'm curious what
different
you think,
departments
what you
and-
feel
Yeah.
is going forward, what will be or will most likely be necessary.
Yeah, so Brianna and I will put our heads together again, and put all the numbers on paper and what it looks like, and kind of talk about some different scenarios. We've talked, staff periodically about what maybe some of that looks like. There's been talk about, public safety millage versus, not, and, those sorts of things.
Yeah,
And so those things are being thrown out there. Now, there is, of course, a fear for a public safety millage because Isabella County went down in flames and they laid off 28 police officers. And so there is a little bit of a fear here now in Benzie County because that county's millage went down in flames. So
when did that happen?
last November,
And nothing's happened since?
yeah, they laid off 28 officers.
The school millage landscape has been that way. The passage rate has dropped very dramatically.
Yeah.
At the state level.
Right, so those are some of the things I think we need to talk through is, what makes sense for Benzie County. I think this is gonna be a hard sell period. Because, people like a year ago, people are still strapped in the community and in our country. So we're gonna have to talk through some of those things specifically. The other thing we need to consider as well is, as many of you probably know, there's a huge push for X My Tax in the state of Michigan. And that has made it through all the steps in Lansing for official petitioning of the state. So the petitions being circulated now by Ax My Tax have been approved by the Bureau of Elections. So those are the official petitions. If they get the 800 and some thousand vote or signatures, it will be on the ballot. So those are other parts of that we have to consider as
Yeah.
well. Because based on what I'm hearing from the Michigan Association of Counties, is that eliminates all taxes, including bond payment taxes. and any other taxes that are out there. School, and it has no revenue replacement for schools whatsoever.
We need to remember, the people might vote, but the final vote is at the state and Senate level.
Right.
So as long as we keep our representatives on our side.
Yeah.
It should fail.
Hopefully. Yeah. So,
Even if the voters voted something like that in.
Even if they voted it in,
Yeah, it still has
it's
to go
in
before the
statute.
legislature.
mhm,
And again, when people, it sounds, of course, lowering taxes sounds great
Right,
until you
right.
Right, it
recognize the
sounds great.
ramifications.
Right.
Taxes.
everyone's pay taxes.
No,
Right.
no,
Right.
but the ramifications would be.
Terrible.
But if you want to
Parasite.
drive on nice roads and I want to,
Yeah.
have these services and these,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what taxes pay for, or what
Right.
taxes,
Well, look at Benzie County. We are passing EMS, we are passing Maples, we
Right.
are the senior resources, the bus. The older people are speaking out on that. Whereas, yeah, we saw a fail on the sheriff's one, the
The
sheriff jail,
original.
but the older folks are out doing their thing and voting for what they feel is necessary.
Right.
It really comes down to education
Yeah.
and community investment and conversation.
100%.
Like it's, it's not about being sneaky. It's not about
Nope.
it's just put it out there and have people understand exactly the why.
Yep.
So,
That's why education is so important. I mean, you got to obviously get the message across the best way you can so that we're coming across as being,
Which is a big reason why we've established this committee
Absolutely.
already.
Yeah.
So that we have a good solid year to really sell it to the community as to this is why we need this, that, and the other thing. So that's the part. So for the next meeting, from Brianne and I, you probably want some recap documents from last time. We'll have the new numbers that are anticipated for revenue also. And then a few brainstorm ideas as to this is what it could look like going forward. Anything else that you think you need in preparation for the next meeting?
good start.
so that document of the breakdown of all of the kind of, I always call them micro millages, all of the various millages that we are levying. When they were voted in, expiration, amount generated, like just the nuts and bolts of each one,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be, okay.
Yep, we'll have it, we can have the nuts and bolts of each one with the expirations. Yep, we can have that, and I know last time we put together a pretty elaborate spreadsheet with, Fred Bierbauer, because he was really trying to help us figure out, the whats and the whys, and he was pretty active in the community for other reasons. But he really took a lot of time with Brianne and I to understand Headley, because he was willing to help us explain it to the community. And so we, after this committee was said and done, Brianne and I still had a lot of time with him where we sat down and created some informational spreadsheets to help
That's good.
the layman's person understand what it means and why. So we can probably dig that out as well. That should
Yeah,
help.
that would be helpful.
Mhm.
On your report, will it have just the millages or will it have all revenue streams that the county receive?
Just millages. I can provide you the budget, the general fund budget, but the majority of our money comes from millage. The little bit we get from revenue sharing and marijuanas is nothing.
Right.
And based on how things are going and the fact that we still don't have a revenue sharing trust fund and the temperature continues to change on the marijuana establishments and where they are and where they're not, those monies are not fully reliable,
No,
unfortunately.
And I think that the most eye-opening part for me this last time was that people really, and I feel kind of the opposite, but people really like to see the individual millages.
They do.
They want to see what, and I feel the exact opposite. I would rather it be, eliminate some of those and bundle it together.
Right.
But I was surprised to see how many people really wanted to see the individual.
But we work on the other side of it.
I know what,
Right.
I know what,
In
I
full
have different-
disclosure,
I have
I'm the township treasurer of
different
the
perspective.
biggest, most population dense township in
Yeah.
the county and the Elmira Township, and then also the village of Lake Ann. So Jason and I being elected township
Yeah.
members, we see it from the other side of it, where we do those allocations through a budget that's as transparent as the counties,
But it's
but it's a
just-
lot shorter and
it's
it's a lot
short.
simpler and it's a lot easier for the public to come in and look at when it's sitting out on our front desk for a month.
Yeah.
But to not see the nuts and bolts and to understand them from, they want to see those separate. And like you said, they're passing the senior millages, the EMS millages, maybe not the schools. I don't
Right.
have kids in school. I don't want to pay for that.
Right.
People
Right.
are picking and choosing what they really, really are.
What they want to
anymore.
support.
You see it and
Mhm.
you can see the difference in, for a while it was, okay, people turn down millages in a recession or something like
Yeah.
that, or they vote them in for, but it's, people are cherry picking anymore a lot.
They really are.
And we have to not only acknowledge it, but
Figure it out.
best
appreciate
way
it.
forward.
And, yep.
Mhm.
I feel like you gotta come at it from two spots. You gotta have the data and
Yep.
the clear numbers as to why. Then you also have to have the story. And and be able to tell the kind of emotion side of this. People, a lot of this there's just sometimes just a general distrust
Yes,
of
government.
government and institutions,
Yep.
right? And so you have to really prove and
Mhm.
why you're worthy of those dollars and what you've done historically with those and really tell that story.
Well,
That's
I'm-
where the time, I think, is gonna be really important to be able to
Yes.
tell
Yeah.
the story.
Yep.
But I'm hoping that over the last few years, the county staff has really demonstrated to the community enhanced transparency. They held their word on the jail millage. They held their word on not borrowing from the general fund for certain things. So I'm hoping that'll help.
Specifically putting that information
Yeah.
out, will be important.
So.
Yeah.
And broadband was a huge investment into the community and people wanted that, so hopefully we've knocked down some of those barriers over the last
And,
few
and that's
years.
gone really well. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not finished, but it's.
Yeah, it
gone
won't be
really
finished till
well.
the 2028, but when it's done,
It's on-
altogether, it's almost a $20 million
Oh,
investment
it's
into the
incredible.
county.
It's incredible.
So, and it's huge. So, okay,
All right,
I think Brian and I have our marching orders. So we'll get that information out to everybody. I did put this back on the homepage of our website, benzico.gov. So general operations, millage, right on there. There's a little information on there as well, and then also under the administration. There's stuff about Headley as well, so we'll keep stuff on the website, we'll add stuff to the website, if you wanna just let me know what to add, if you think of something that might be helpful. So if people are wondering, we will be streaming it on the YouTubes like last time, people like that.
The interwebs.
So we'll keep doing that as well. I really wanna make this as accessible as possible, cause I think that's gonna help
Mhm.
all of us in our storytelling. So
thanks for your help as well.
Much appreciated.
Brian and I are gonna get this done.
Yeah.
You guys always get things done.
We try.
Any public comment? If we're done discussing it, just one?
When you go and do the tax, what each one of these taxes generate.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah.
Comparison.
Increase it was or
Good point.
loss, because if people don't see. But it always sticks to me is if when somebody buys a new piece of property, or they have a name and take it off, it's $2,000 a year,
Right,
$6,000, that's a hard sell.
it is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can show you half a dozen people already that know that game.
Right.
So
I wonder.
that's something that we have to sell as a commission.
Yeah, so, I think last time, would we provide the last 5 years?
I think
So
so.
really, we're just adding on the next year, so we should have at least the last 6 years, if it
That's
was
good.
5. So that should be good, and maybe also we can show the change, cause that side of the coin, yes, it's like, well, my taxes went from 2,000 to 6,000, but then perhaps we can show also all of the change in ownership in Benzie County that went to non-exempt or exempt statuses from taxes.
Yeah,
Part of the issue.
That's part of the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the veterans exemption and then we have the property in Alberta and, those are losses in revenue.
Yeah.
So maybe if we can show that as well to show, hey, we had all these gains, but we also had these losses,
Yeah.
so really it wasn't that much.
it's a hard sell.
Just as a thinking, not necessarily for the next meeting, but like when you've given these, we have them in a paper form, which is helpful during the meetings. It might be useful having actually access to that spreadsheet in real time, so you can actually change numbers and kind of go through scenarios and build them like in real time.
Electronic
I
spreadsheet.
don't remember if we did that last time. I don't feel like
I
we did
remember we-
that.
yeah.
I think it was all on paper, but I
Okay,
mean,
we can do digital.
yeah, just, well, when you can just tweak that spreadsheet and go, okay, let's zero this one out, zero this one out, zero this one out, and then add, like you can actually
Mhm.
play with numbers in real time.
Well,
have
and
it-
there was a few
helpful.
jurisdictions who had like a template spreadsheet last election that we found that you could go in as like a taxpayer and estimate what your taxes are
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah.
So maybe we can borrow that spreadsheet and make it ours.
Yeah.
And then that would be helpful too.
It's just a tool for the dialogue, like it's.
Yeah.
That way we don't have to keep coming back and forth and doing calculation by calculation.
Yeah, it
Nope,
gets
that's-
old.
Yep.
I know we
Especially for
touched
trying
on
to
it a little bit earlier, Gary had said, but yeah, people are upset. And I know that people may not know the difference between exempt and non-exempt properties. They just feel it's all, they see, for instance, I have a rental place and I was paying $3,000 a year in property taxes. And then I bought the gentleman out and then it jumped up to nearly 11,000.
Right.
So where's the heck's the other $7,000?
On
And I'm
cap-
just one
Is
person.
it on
On
cap?
cap.
Yeah.
They come on cap,
Yeah.
but it's not homesteaded either.
Oh, it's
Right.
not,
But
it's
still, it has jumped up that $7,000 in 1 year.
Yeah.
18 mils, non-homestead.
I know.
Capping.
But
versus
people see
homestead.
that and they say, well, why do I have to pay more when the county's already getting this $7,000 now instead of the 3?
Because the non-homestead
that's-
doesn't even go to
that's
the
a-
county. that
Because
goes
it's
straight
not
to
the
state.
county's money.
Yep.
Well, people don't see it that way. They see the tax.
education.
Right, so we need to educate folk
Right.
on the tax bill itself.
Right,
About these, this goes here and this is what this
Yeah.
means.
right.
Huh.
It's
Ooh.
wonky.
It is.
Motion adjourned.
Yeah.
So rude.
You can probably homestead that property, though, can't you, or no?
Did anybody do it?
No, 'cause I have my house already and a farm.
It's not, or it's not adjacent or,
No,
oh,
it's on the way to Frankfurt.
gotcha.
It's over by Frankfurt.
Yeah.
So
That's a bug.
it is a high
Right.
rate district.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Nobody ever opposed.